Hey, how you guys doing? This is Sergeant Be Safe, and I'm back in the office again. I know the brand new year has already started, and we're well into 2023. And guess what? It will soon be getting warm outside, and you'll be wanting to do outdoor activities. Be mindful of your surroundings and the company you keep. And if you have to go out by yourself, always keep a vigilant eye. I want you guys to remain safe. Here, I'll give you a scenario. This good citizen decided to take advantage of the warm weather and went for a jog.
Look at this guy not paying attention, looking like a straight victim.
And here comes Treacherous Tony on the prowl. Fortunately, I have with me Captain Chaos and his K9 Kraken.
This is your captain speaking.
And we'll work together to apprehend Treacherous Tony before he does something dangerous. Put him up, Treacherous Tony. You're coming with me.
All right, I give up. I won't do it again.
Listen to Sergeant Be Safe. He gives the best safety tips.
Hey, thank you very much. Take it from Captain Chaos and me. I'm Sergeant Be Safe. And that's your tip of the day to get you on your way.
Subscribe now.
Let's go start the show.
I'm over here counting my stash. Cooper, get out of here. Last time you got me in trouble with Be Safe. This is a good spot to sell my drugs.
Sergeant Be Safe, we just got a call for suspicious activity. Copy that, dispatch. Captain Chaos and his K9 Kraken along with me are just now arriving on the scene. We'll stop and check it out. 10-4, Sergeant Be Safe.
Oh no, cops! I'm out of here.
Release the Kraken.
Hey, we see your drugs over there. Stop running, treacherous Tony. We will get you.
All right. I give up. I won't do it again.
Yeah, you say that all the time.
I'm sick of going to jail.
Illegal drugs are a bad decision. Just ask Treacherous Tony. This isn't a good view. Take it from me, Sergeant Be Safe. I want you to make good decisions. And that's your tip of the day to get you on your way.
Subscribe now.
All right, and welcome back. Let me get this cleared out real quick. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Black and Blue. It's your motivational speaker, your empowerment coach, your author, and your favorite baker's favorite baker, Coach Clee, coming at you. You guys know we've been going strong for over a year now with this side of the platform, Black and Blue, where we highlight individuals in law enforcement and first responders who are seasoned, rookied, or retirees, and their experiences, their publication, and their any kind of trainings that they may have. So today we got a special guest. He's backstage right now. He's actually he's not the first. He's the second civilian we've had on here, but he's going to highlight something very important that goes on here in the police world. All right, but a couple of announcements. I hope you guys like those cartoons by Sergeant Be Safe. Sergeant Be Safe will soon be making his children's book debut. Hopefully within the next maybe month or so. Don't hold me to that. But we got wonderful things coming. We also have wonderful things coming down the pipeline with Black and Blue Volume 1. You know, this is author of 5 books, working on 6, 7, and 8 right now as we speak. Always also done by One Way Publishing. One Way Publishing is a book publishing company that can turn a mere thought into a book that's bought. So if you guys are looking to get that done, we'll get into that a little more because I got to put some announcements out there. I see Greg's on. I see Seti P's on. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you guys tag, like, and share. We got a wonderful show ahead of you. If you guys are looking for that shout out like they just got, make sure you put your name and where you're from in the comment section so you can get that shout out. If you have a question, because this is an interactive live, you got to put the question in there as well, and we'll highlight that question, answer it to the best of our ability. We're streaming on 5 different platforms right now. We're on 2 platforms on Facebook. We're on 2 platforms on YouTube. And of course, we're streaming on LinkedIn. And I got the website in workwithclee.com in the comment section, all but LinkedIn. I wasn't aware until tonight that if I tag something in here, it doesn't go to LinkedIn. So I have to actually do that physically after the show. Make sure you guys check that out after the show. But like I was saying, One Way Publishing can turn a mere thought into a book that's bought. Whether you're thinking about a biography, autobiography, instructional, cookbook, you name it, they can get it done. Reach out to that website. Here we go. Here's a little commercial that explains it all, so I don't have to do all the talking for it. Publishing. Have you ever wanted to explain something, tell a story, or leave a piece of you behind? Have you ever wanted to write your own book, but not specifically know how to do it? Well, get ready. One Way Publishing's here. We can turn a mere thought into a book that's bought. People need to learn from you. They need to hear that story. Kids need to read that book. Imagine if you wrote your own children's book and get to read it to your kids. Here at One Way Publishing, we can get your fiction, nonfiction, fantasy, instructional, what have you, done. All at a reasonable price and definitely a reasonable time frame. And if you don't believe me, ask Sergeant Be Safe. He's working on his right now. He's definitely writing the best chapter of his life. Make sure you check out his cartoon skits that air on the podcast Black and Blue.
As Sergeant Be Safe said, that's your tip of the day to get you on your way. All right, and like I said, One Way Publishing is a way to get that done. The website scrolling below,
and also it is in the comment section. But without further ado, we're going to jump right into why you guys are all here. We're going to learn more about the individual, the guests I had backstage. We're going to learn more about PAL, Police Athletic League, the rise of it, some intricate details, the importance of it, connecting. You guys want to know about community service and community policing? Well, we're going to discuss all that right now. Let me get these banners ready. Here we go. Let me change this up a little bit. You know, I got to do all the behind the scenes stuff. It's a little difficult all at once, but we're going to make it happen. This is Coach Cleet coming at you, your motivational speaker. So we got to make this thing happen. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I got the Director of Community Engagement from Syracuse Police Department. He's a civilian in the position with direct impact with PAL, the Police Athletic League, which highlights kids from ages 6 to 18 and the boys and girls. And it's a community engagement involving sports. And I don't want to talk too much about it because it's not my forte. That's why I have Jimmy Oliver here. Jimmy, are you here?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Perfect. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for being available. And I know it was short notice. We had to jumble some things around backstage in this past week and move Rob Peter to pay Paul. But we're here today now, and we're going to have it done. We're going to have a great show ahead of you guys. So get your questions ready. Make sure you guys get those likes up. Hit those likes because this goes beyond us. This information is important for people to hear and to share this information beyond our ears. So make sure you guys do that. But without further ado, Jimmy, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, sir. Again, thanks for having me. I was born and raised in the city of Syracuse. Got 3 brothers, 3 sisters. Was raised in a single parent home. My mom raised us. Went to elementary school, middle school, high school here in Syracuse, and then went off to a small college called Casanova College, and then went off to Lemoyne. But circling back when I was a young kid, you have mentors, you have people in your community that, hold you accountable, show you what's possible, plant those seeds of wisdom in you. And I had a lot of that. My mom, was our first teacher. She did the best she could, coming from Florida, moving to New York, and to raising us as her kids. She instilled values, doing the right thing. She used to always say, I want you guys to be better than me. Who can be better than their mom, who works hard and who, provides for you, who, will be there no matter what. She was a great cook. She instilled that in me. I love to cook. But my brothers and sisters, it was tough, growing up in Syracuse. I had some, older siblings who, got in some trouble and things of that nature. And, my mom, my school, they wanted, different for me. And you talk about in your question, what did I want to be when I, grew up? It did start with a police officer. Okay. I wanted to do that because we had community, we had police in our community that would come up to us, talk to us, play catch with us. They were in our schools, we knew them by name. But then it ventured to a firefighter. I wanted to be a firefighter. And then when I was in 3rd grade, my school, my teachers, people just loved on this kid who got in trouble all the time. Suspension, in school suspension, out of school suspension, but they saw my potential. They every day I came back, they were there trying to encourage me to do the right thing, to make good choices. And so I said I wanted to be a teacher when I grew up because that's what I saw them do a great job, and I just wanted to pay it forward. So I wanted to be a teacher. I did that for a little while, and then I got into nonprofit work. And started working at the Boys and Girls Club in Syracuse, where, I did that after I left college after 2 years. And I tell you, that was the best job I've ever had in my life. Okay. They cultivated me, trained me, they developed me on youth development, outreach, inspiring kids to do the right thing, being able to travel, work with board members, fundraise, all those things that I always wanted to do. And the Boys and Girls Club taught that.
Okay. And so, as you went through the Boys and Girls Club, and you said it was the best job that you ever had, was there anyone in particular that helped mentor you, took you under your wing, or influenced you to be the person that you are now?
Yeah, I would say the unit director at the time, his name was John Brzezinski. He, we used to always play pool. We would play, shoot around, baskets. We would play home run derby. But he was always talking about the right thing, talked about the mission of the club and how it's to inspire, create leaders. And that resonated with me because I always wanted to be a leader. But I really, truly did not know the impact of the Boys and Girls Club until I became a staff person. The programs, the leadership programs, the recreation, the traveling, the exposure, creating, basketball leagues, traveling to California with kids, all those things. I didn't know they were possible when I was a young kid. Those things weren't presented to us. It was more athletics. And when I left college, 20 years old, I'm working with kids who are 14, trying to get them to be a part of our program. And we were able to instill that mission. It's about, serving and giving to others, lending a hand out, giving, a hand up, not a handout, holding you accountable, making sure your environment is clean, safe, fun, all those things. Those things excited me.
Gotcha. So, how you were with the Boys and Girls Club? How did you transition to become the director of PAL for Syracuse?
Yeah, I think it was my journey. As I said, I started at the Boys and Girls Club at 20. I did that for about 10 years here in Syracuse. I also worked for the Syracuse City School District.
Okay.
I worked for the Hillbrook Detention Center. I did that, working with at-risk youth there. And then I left and went to Virginia and ran the Boys and Girls Clubs there and worked with the city of Lynchburg. And then about 4.5 years ago, I moved back to Syracuse, and I was appointed Deputy Commissioner of Parks and Recreation and Youth Programs. And I was able to do that, engaging with law enforcement, engaging with our community, developing community centers, bringing the community as a whole, taking their input, and making things happen. And the reason why I pivoted over to law enforcement is because the mayor, the county executive, and then the chief of police, Kenton Buckner, came to me of this idea of creating this first ever director of community engagement, building relationships with our community and law enforcement. And I have to tell you, at first I was like, nah, I can't do this, because this role came about after all the marches, in 2020, with everything that was happening nationally, with the George Floyds, the Breonna Taylors, and others. There was a lot of marches here in Syracuse, youth with 20 to 25 saying, we want better relationships with law enforcement in our community. We want people who live, eat, sleep, and play in the city to become law enforcement. We want law enforcement to look like the community. And the mayor, and they said, hey, do you want to try it out? And I said no a few times. And then a childhood friend of mine said, Jimmy, with your history, with where you grew up, with the experiences that you had, if you do this right, man, this could change our city. And I decided to sign on and come and be a part of it. And it was hard. It was hard. If you can imagine being a civilian coming into an environment during COVID when you're laying people off, there's a lot of heightened anxiety and things of that nature. I wasn't treated good right away. Because there's, police, they want trust. They want to know who, they're dealing with. And, I was unfamiliar, and hey, is the mayor bringing this, guy over here to spy on what we're doing? People are losing jobs. But I think that's what made, PAL what it is, because of that adversity I had to use those tools and experience to follow through, to be consistent, um, and to be intentional. And so that's how I got here, because of an idea, and said, "Hey, we want to give it a shot."
Yeah, and from what I hear and from what I hear, little birdies chirping in my ear that you're ringing bells and making big changes. For those who are on right now, and for those who may be watching the replay later, can you explain exactly what PAL is? I know it's scrolling across the bottom, PAL, Police Athletic League, but what does it entail? What are some of the details?
So PAL is a national organization that started back in the 1900s in
Okay.
New York City.
Mm-hmm.
And it was to really give kids and officers an opportunity to mix and mingle together, to build relationships. If there was ever an issue, they could come together through sports, through STEM, through mentorship. There is a variety of different programs and activities that PAL have. Rochester, Buffalo, Albany, they've all been around for 60, 70 years. And they're creating officers by, having a police athletics / activities league.
Okay.
Because what we believe is the sports really is to get the kids in the door.
Right.
That's they love basketball, they love track, they love boxing, they love swimming. Get them in the door, and then you start to plant those seeds of other possibilities that you can do. And we were fortunate enough to be able to get those best practices from those other organizations that I spoke of before. We were very intentional about doing something like this. But I'll go back a step is, with every new program and every new position, that the mayor puts out or the chief put out is sometimes, the flashy, the news comes and you do this. But what I wanted the community to know is that the police department picked the right person. The mayor picked the right person because I'm from here. I had experiences. I know how the community feels. I know how law enforcement feels. And we're going to make sure that this is around for a very, very long time. And so I had to build a structure and a foundation with not just the Syracuse Police Department, but with New York State Troopers, the Onondaga Sheriffs, the DeWitt Police Department, Syracuse University's Police Department, because I knew that the Syracuse Police Department could not bear this responsibility by itself.
Right.
And these other entities that I named, our kids needed to be exposed to them as well too. And that's what we're doing. We're planting seeds right now. And every time a kid comes to our program or adult, we're going to water those seeds and we're going to put them in positions where they can grow. Right. And that's what it's about. It's about changing lives. And if we get kids who want to become police officers, that's a bonus. That's a bonus. But the overall goal is you'll have a card that has your name and the PAL logo on it. So if you ever get stopped, by a police officer or they ask you for your ID, you pull out your PAL card. And that'll, diffuse the situation because they'll be familiar with it. Right. And they'll be able to say, hey, we call Jimmy and ask him, are you a part of the program? And, we'll be able to say, yeah. And, the kid will get home safe and the officer will get home safe. But my job is to be in the middle, to be objective, not to lean on each side, but to advocate for both entities so that they both know that they're both important. And they both care about this community. And that's one of the things that I've been trying to drive as we begin to create this program that's been around for a year and a half.
Gotcha. So, and I know it's named the Police Athletic League. You also said there's other activities. What are some of the sports that most of the law enforcement officers or the kids like to work hand in hand with, either sports or activities? What's the most common? And what's the most,
I would say,
to where you would think that maybe someone's involved with, I don't know, comic book writing or something. Would you be able to match them up with something?
Yeah, I would say you would be surprised. Jiu-jitsu.
Oh,
That has been the overwhelming program where kids and officers come out in droves.
okay.
Since we launched, I mean, yeah, you go from one or two officers in the beginning to then starting a program that officers enjoy because they're learning this in the academy.
Hmm.
And now the kids are enjoying it because they get to, throw the officers around and, learn all these skills and leadership. And you watch the kids bond with the officers. I mean, there's 24 officers that come to that program consistently,
Okay.
and not just from the Syracuse Police Department, but from surrounding counties
Hmm.
that are 45, 50 minutes away to
Wow.
come and do this program.
Uh-huh.
And it just blew my mind. I was like, wow, if I knew that, I would have started that. It would have been the first sport I did when I started it. But of course, basketball is huge.
Mhm.
Of course, football is huge.
Mhm.
We're trying to expose our kids to golf,
Okay.
because there's a lot of business deals that get settled on the golf course, and there's different conversations, meeting different people that golf can bring. We
Mhm.
do field hockey, we do STEM, we do swimming.
Okay.
Just trying to throw as many things at our kids so that then they have a choice.
Mhm.
If I don't like basketball, I may like tennis. So if I don't like tennis, I may like swimming. If I don't like swimming, I like to draw. If I don't like to draw, I like to build things. So we're gonna do Lego League, and things of that nature. If I don't like that, I can do architectural. I like, there's a variety of different things. We want to touch on math, English, science, and social studies because we know, look at those statistics in the country, we are struggling. And so how do we get our kids wanting to do those things in a
Right.
fun manner?
Mhm.
And so, we partner with a variety, but I would say jujitsu definitely is the thing that blew my mind. But it's a lot of fun. Kids and parents, they want it more consistently than once a month.
Mhm.
But it attracts a lot of folks, and it's great to see. It's great to see.
Gotcha. So if a kid, and I know it's different from state to state and county to county, and different programs are set up differently. But for your in particular setup, if you have a certain amount, do you have kids that get matched up with law enforcement, or is it kind of like a group setting where you have a few instructors of law enforcement matched up with a group setting of kids that may want to participate in whatever the activity is for the day?
Yeah, well, we currently, partner with other facilities to use their facility. We don't currently have our own.
Okay.
But when we do events and, leagues, we have officers sign up for coaching in the different age groups. And
Okay.
they spend between 4 weeks to 12 weeks with the
Oh,
kids. So
okay.
those are practices, those are games. So, but what I ask is give me an hour. Give me an hour, because what I know from my Boys and Girls Club days is if a kid has a caring adult meeting with them for an hour,
Mhm.
checking on school, asking them how they're doing, going to their events, the kid is going to be successful.
Okay.
And so a lot of times I ask for an hour. Give me an hour. If you can't give me an hour, give me 15 minutes. And I
Mhm.
guarantee you, if you come for 15 minutes, you're going to stay for that hour because of the environment. And our community is all in. Black, brown, in between, they're all in. They want this to happen.
Mhm.
And now we're gradually trying to get the law enforcement in. And it's like, changing mindsets, that Carol Dweck, one of my favorite authors, talk about, do you have a fixed mindset or do you have a growth mindset?
Right.
And we want to teach our kids to have a growth mindset, be able to try different things, experience different people's perspectives so they can be open and that they can be successful. And so, that's another thing that we're trying to develop. But the relationships is strained. We know they're strained. We know the issue. Now we have a solution. Let's try it, and let's start taking steps to make that happen. I tell people here all the time because they want to dwell in, how bad the police is and how bad our community. Okay, well, we know that. So what is something we can start today?
Right.
What is something we can do to start moving in the direction that you want to be in? And that's doing something like PAL and, putting that out there, giving them an example, being consistent. And that's what we've been trying to do.
Gotcha. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're going to pause for the cause real quick because Sergeant Be Safe has something he's going to say.
Excuse me, madam. You're standing still in a no parking zone. If you don't get a move on that body, I'll be forced to give you a ticket.
Hey, it's Sergeant Be Safe.
Danger! Danger!
Excuse me, ma'am. The sign says no parking.
I'm not parking. I'm just running into Dunkin' Buck to get my coffee.
You are parked. You're outside of your vehicle and you're illegally parked in a fire lane. Parking in a proper spot and taking a few extra steps is not going to make you late for work. Matter of fact, here comes the fire truck now and you're in the way. This is going to cause a problem. I may need to just have this vehicle towed so the fire department can get in here and deal with this emergency. If the sign says no parking, do as it says. Don't park there.
Oh my gosh. I'm so embarrassed. It would be my fault if a tragedy happened. Thanks for not giving me a ticket, Sergeant Be Safe. Now I know for next time.
Well, just consider this your warning and definitely let this be the last time. I'm Sergeant Be Safe, and it may seem minor, but it's very important. Make sure you park legally. And that's your tip of the day to get you on your way.
Subscribe now.
And we are back. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys like Sergeant Be Safe. Let me go ahead and take this off here. There we go. Yes, and got a few people in here. That's a good commercial. A lot of fun. We're talking. We got Jimmy Oliver here with Pal. We're having a nice discussion. But if you like this information, make sure you tune in. Make sure you give us some likes, give us some hearts, give us some thumbs up. To keep it going because it's engagement. It's engagement that's important. It keeps the platform going. And guess what? They're free. Give up a like or two. Let us know how we're doing. Ask you questions. Keep it coming. I see we got a few comments that I missed. What did I miss? Oh, yeah, okay. Greetings, everyone. And Danger Sergeant Be Safe, the tip of the day to get you on your way. Absolutely. Jamal Nelson's on. Thank you guys for tuning in. But I wanted to ask, kind of take a sidebar real quick, Jimmy. We kind of got connected a few days ago, and we got connected by a mutual friend of ours that we met via LinkedIn. And it was due to the fact it was Derek Dotson. He's been on here, I think it was about 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, with his children's book. And I know that's how he grabbed your attention with his children's book. Can you kind of give us a brief rundown on how that happened?
Yeah, one night I was scrolling on Facebook, and this guy, Derek Dotson, came up. And it talked about a book called The Police in Me. Mm-hmm. And again, with me trying to build relationships between our community and our youth, and the number one question I'm always asked is, Jimmy, if I get pulled over by the police, what do I do? Mm-hmm. What do I do? I want to make it home safe. And I've been trying to find information, and so I saw some information about this, and I happened to be I was at an elementary school, talking to the vice principal, and I brought up Derek's name. And of course, she was related to him. Oh, wow. And she says, hey, I know he's my cousin. And I was like, really? I said, I've been trying to get a hold of him. I sent him a message, is there any way you can make the connection? And so she sent the email to us. And I replied and said, he had surgery, what have you. And I said, when you have time, I would love to connect with you. I would love to hear more about your book. I want to put this book in front of our kids here in Syracuse, because I think it'll be life changing. I think it's a conversation that our parents can have with their kids at different age groups. And I think it, will be something good. And so we got on a call. We hit it off well. He, I was telling him the things I was doing, and we just kept in contact. And the more and more we talked, the more we just blended. And we were running our basketball league, and his book dropped in November. And I said, Derek, how can I get 251 of your books? Because I want to give it to every one of our kids in our program. Nice. I believe that's how important this is. This is important to our Black and brown communities, and they need to have this tool in front of them. And made it happen. And he's just a great, fantastic guy who is in law enforcement. And another thing about him, he has a cousin who's a lieutenant in the Syracuse Police Department.
Oh, wow.
Here in So small world. It just made sense. And these are topics that Syracuse continues to talk about. Community relationship, police building positive relationships. And when I saw this, I said, what better way is to have this, Derek come and speak to our community, speak to our police officer, speak to our mayor, and, these different things. And so it just worked. And I'm blessed that I had the opportunity to meet him. I think we're going to do some really good stuff together. Great guy.
Yeah. I think some good things, some positive things are coming down the pipeline, definitely, for sure, because he spoke very highly of you when I spoke with him as well. Great, wonderful news. And I know you want to put a book in each of your kids' hands, which I think is a great idea. Is it because of his book answers a lot of the common questions that you may get from either the kids or the parents, or during PAL sessions or so, that kind of bridge the gap and is that glue to solidify both law enforcement and the community?
It's crucial. I mean, it talks about if you get pulled over, taking your key out of the ignition, taking a deep breath, answering, questions, not being upset. It talks about do's and don'ts. It talks about the different roles and responsibilities in the police department.
Right.
It talks about detectives. It talks about patrol officers. It talks about the chief. And I think a lot of folks in our community, and I say this often in our department, is that if folks don't have access to you, it's hard for me to build a relationship with you.
That's cool, yeah.
And it's hard for me to trust you. And so that's one of the things that I think the book brings together.
Okay.
It brings that, I'm going to use this word, it humanizes the badge. They're people.
That's what this platform's all about.
Yeah, that's what it's about. I mean, that was one of the headliners at the National PAL conference that I went to in New Orleans 3 years ago. How can we humanize the badge? And I was like, oh, that's perfect. I gotta use that. But also on the flip side, how can we humanize our community? Because everybody's not the same, just like all the police are not the same. Right. And so this book gives a step-by-step on what different folks in the police department do. And I just thought it was very beneficial for us to put it in front of our kids, because it starts a conversation. I did Read Over America the other day, and I went to a charter school, and I brought his book with me. And I read that book to some second graders. And let me tell you, they had a bunch of questions, good questions. You know what I'm saying? And that's how it starts, with a conversation, answering questions, being respectful, being able to put yourself in the other person's shoes, being empathetic. And that's what my background in youth development is, in Boys and Girls Club. we're mission driven, and you meet people where they are. We're understanding. We don't know everything, and again, trying to get here in Syracuse, getting police out of that, to doing youth development and prevention. It's been a little difficult, but we're getting there. We're getting there. It's one officer at a time. It's one kid at a time. Absolutely. And that's what we're trying to do.
Good summation. Thank you. Let me ask you this. Let's just say that there's a family or a kid that's watching this program right now, or they're watching the replay later, and they never have heard of the PAL at all until this moment, and they're captivated and they want to know more and learn more. First, how would they be able to get in contact with you or your organization? And secondly, what's the process like? What would you tell them if they're brand new to everything and they're somewhat skeptical on reaching out, but they do make that connection and they want to proceed and go to step 1, step 2, step 3? Can you outline that for us, please?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. First, they can reach us, they can check us out on Instagram and Facebook. It's SYRPAL44. You can see all the things that we've done since we launched. They can contact me at joliver@syracusepolice.org, or they can call me at 315-870-5288. Someone's going to pick up the phone. I'm going to tell you about our programs, how to sign up. We make it very easy. We put QR codes on all of our stuff because everybody has a phone. Yes, you can scan it. It comes directly to us. We take flyers to schools. We do community events. We beat the streets. I tell people all the time, it's like running for office. I'm out there because this is new. Every community event I can be at to talk about PAL and how important and impactful it can be, I'm out there. And two, I would say what I always tell even people who want to give to PAL before, and this is something I learned at the Boys and Girls Club, is before you give us your hard-earned dollars, come see it for yourself. Because I can tell you that is great, because I'm the director of community engagement. But come talk to our parents. Come talk to our kids, talk to our volunteers, talk to our sponsors, talk to people who continue to want to support this. Go talk to them first and experience it. And then if you're interested, we'll make it very easy for you to sign up. One thing I will tell you, you will be able to decide what you want to do. There's a choice in what you want to do. We're going to treat you with respect. We're going to have good customer service. And if anything that comes out of our mouth saying that we're going to do, we're going to work our tails off to make that happen. Okay. And because I know how important it is for families and kids to say, hey, I'm doing something on this day. They expect it to happen that day.
Exactly.
It's not, we're canceling, we're not, the weather's bad and things of that nature. I tell people it has to be a natural disaster for me to cancel.
Right.
I know how important it is for consistency. Kids look forward to things, family looks forward to things. And we want to be mindful when we put anything out there that we follow through. But definitely checking us out on Facebook, check our flyers. I'm willing to come out and meet you if you're at a different community center. You want me to come talk to you. If you want me to come talk to you at your school, a PTA, you want me to come, we're willing to go out and do that to get this information out. But I bet the best thing is to come and see it. We run all year round. We don't stop. We go from basketball to soccer to baseball to swimming to track to our Black History Month drawing contest. We keep it going. We wanted people to know that we weren't going to just be this one and done. We were going to be a place that you can count on, and that's what we were trying to do.
Okay, got a couple comments on the floor. Shayla Thompson says she loves this. Sounds like easy access to information and follow through. Good point. Yes. And meeting people where they are, that's important. Absolutely. I would agree with that 100%. Let me ask you, I know you've been
Can I touch on that real quick?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
So a lot of times, and I'm sure you're familiar with this, is that if you're not in a certain group, you don't get that important information. Say jobs. You know, we just got Micron that's coming. They're going to spend $100 billion over the next 20 years. A lot of the kids that we're serving and a lot of parents that we're serving don't get that information because they're not in the political process or they're not a part of some group. So what we also do is bring that information to our activities and our events.
Okay.
To say, hey, have you heard about these tech jobs? Have you heard about these coding jobs that they're going to be offering? We want to, put those tools in front of them. So when 2025 do come, now you have the skills necessary and the experience to go after those jobs.
Right.
And we, and the same with, the projects that the mayor put out and the county executive, we're using PAL as an avenue to get information to the folks who, all people, but especially those who need us, who need us the most, who, not watching the news, they're not reading on our news stations. We want to get that information so they have access to it. So,
yeah, that sounds like a central hub for information and networking and connecting as well, which was leading into my next question in a roundabout way. The kids that you've worked with from the Boys and Girls Club all the way through with now in PAL, what have you seen? How have you seen them develop? I know you said some go off and may become police officers, law enforcement, first responders, but what have you seen them go off and become successful in different arenas in life as well?
So it's funny you say that. On a sad note, my Boys and Girls Club days when I was 20, I had 19 kids that I call them my CEOs. They ran leadership programs. We did community stuff. They gave me a shot when I was this 20-year-old kid coming out of college who thought he knew everything. I was very vulnerable. I made mistakes. They saw me make those mistakes, but they kept coming back because I was trying. Right. So this particular kid, I had him at 14. He's from the suburbs. He had just moved into the city. And his mom wanted him to be a kid, him and his siblings. And she came to the Boys and Girls Club. Long story short, he did well, had a great experience at the Boys and Girls Club. He passed away a few weeks ago. And his mom, I haven't talked to him since he was like 18 years old when he graduated from high school. And his mom reached out and said, Brennan wanted you to speak at his funeral.
Wow.
To talk about his experience at the Boys and Girls Club. He's from an affluent community. And it was the most amazing thing to hear what he had done in his short time as an adult. And it's the things that we talked about, inspire and enable all young people, especially those who need us the most, to become positive, productive citizens. We want you to feel a sense of usefulness. We want you to feel a sense of belonging. We want to empower you. We want you to, help others. And in his life, he had done that with this organization called Young Life, where he was traveling all over the place, impacting kids, impacting other countries, using what we taught him at the Boys and Girls Club. Hearing his friends talk about his leadership, how he just jumps in, directs folks, how he was just serving, was incredible. But like I told him, I said, I can only take a little piece. We just planted those seeds. We gave them the experiences. But they were like, Jimmy, he loved you. He wanted to be like you. He wanted to give back to his community. And he was going to be a coach. He was going to be a teacher in a charter school. He wanted to do all the things that he was exposed to at the Boys and Girls Club. He was doing those in life, and he was going to do that when he became a teacher at a charter school in Washington, D.C. I can tell you about a kid who came from a tough family, single mom home, just like I did, who was a tough kid at the Boys and Girls Club, but we gave him a shot to travel to Minneapolis, Minnesota with other teenagers from across this country, learning about things and how to make your club better. He has now been the leading manager at Foot Locker.
Oh, wow.
He's not only leading one Foot Locker, they have him come and coach and train up and coming Foot Lockers in this area.
Nice.
You know, I mean, you know, there's kids that become real estate folks. You know, there's, you know, who started their own business, who became teachers, who became mentors because of these, you know, these tools and these experiences that we gave them. And now I want to replicate that from 20 years ago to PAL, because I've seen this work with Boys and Girls Club.
Right.
I want to bring that same drive and energy to PAL, because I feel like police, kids, it just gels. It just makes sense. And I think we're going to do some great work. And you know what? I may not be here to see it, you know, but I know it's going to be for the greater good, and I'm okay with that. Because I'm just here to start it. That's what the goal. Start this, Jimmy, build it, and then give it away to the police department, because I believe the police department should be leading this. A civilian like me who's done this, it's great for me to lead it. It's wonderful, but the police department needs to, here in Syracuse, needs to take this, because it's going to help. Everything they want to do, it's going to help. And so there's been a ton of kids. We haven't got any police officers in PAL yet, because we only been around a year and a half.
Gotcha.
But I'm hoping we get one or two, you know, in the future.
Gotcha. I'm pretty sure it's coming down the pipeline. It's just a matter of time. And there's a comment on the floor. Self-talk CC, dope. PAL is a life changer. There you go. Let me ask another question. It's kind of the opposite end of the coin. Let's say you got police officers, which this platform is for, humanizing the badge, like we said. Police officers, first responders, anyone military, anyone like that. And they're interested in either assisting, donating, or volunteering, or being a part of, if not your program, a program that's local to them. How would you suggest that they go about doing it? And I know some questions, is it going to interfere with my job? Is it going to interfere with work hours? Is it going to interfere with home life? Do I have to take vacation time to handle this? Questions like that will come up often. How would I be able to go ahead and I want to make an impact, but what if I'm not available because work runs late or court runs over or whatever may happen?
What I would say, if this is something that you want to do, you're going to make time for it. Everybody's busy, you know, in the world. But if this is what you want to make an impact, you want to, you know, build a relationship with a kid or an adult, you gotta take that step. And I would say Google any PAL in your area, because they're all across the area. Even if you're in another country, they're in New Zealand. PAL is in New Zealand.
Funny you said that. I just had last week. Yeah,
they're in New Zealand. They're in the Virgin Islands. You know, they have information on how to volunteer, how to support their organization. And I'm sure with their schedule being all around, you know, throughout the year, they'll be, again, like I said, even if it's for 15 minutes, even if it's just you want to go in there and high five a kid and say, keep up the good work, and walk out. That's important. That's important. That's how simple we try to make it. But again, these other organizations that have been around for a long time, PAL, you know, in Detroit, Chris Webber, Chris Webber just inducted into the Hall of Fame last year.
Mm-hmm.
And his message inspired me when I was having the toughest days in this job trying to get people to buy into this concept.
Uh-huh.
Jalen Rose was interviewing him, and Jalen Rose grew up in Detroit the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And Jalen Rose asked him, said, "Hey, Chris, all the things you have done in your life with basketball, anything you have done in your life, what is the things that you take away? What do you remember?"
Mm-hmm.
The first thing that came out of his mouth, he named the address. Jalen Rose, of course, knew what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And the next word was PAL.
Wow.
The Police Athletic League in Detroit. And he started naming off officers who lifted him up, picked him up to practice, checked up on him in school. NBA legend.
Mm-hmm.
NBA legend. Another one, Stephen A. Smith from New York City.
Yep.
2006, his mother was still working in the PAL Community Center that Stephen A. went to as a kid. When he signed his deal for ESPN, he drove to New York City and told his mother at the PAL Center, "You no longer have to work there." There's so many other stories like that I met and I heard about what our possibility in PAL could be.
Mm-hmm.
These are kids that came from tough environments.
Mm-hmm.
Their parents worked hard. They didn't have the resources.
Mm-hmm.
But PAL was their glue, their access.
Mm-hmm.
These were free programs for them to go and meet other kids and officers, and look what it created.
Mm-hmm.
And as I was creating that, I was flooding the SPD with these videos. Like, look what we could do. Look what we could do. This is, but it was, those things that inspired me. It kept me going. I often tell people, when I was ready to throw in the towel in this job, God sent the right people at the right time to tell me, you keep going, you're on the right path. And Stephen A. Smith, Chris Webber, John Wallace, who played for the New York Knicks, who went to Syracuse University. He was a PAL kid from Rochester who was on our board, they talked about how PAL saved their life. And they would be emotional when they talked about it. And when I talk about the Boys and Girls Club, that's how I would feel. That's how kids would feel. And I was like, we got to do this. Whatever we got to do, we got to make this happen, because it's going to be better for our community and it's going to be better for law enforcement. And we have to do whatever it takes to make sure that this happens, because it's important more than ever. We're doing this when community don't like the police. In some cases, the police don't like the community. We're doing it when it's hard. A lot of these other places did it when it was the lock key law, when parents were leaving their kids at home while they went to work.
Yeah.
And the officer said, "Hey, we're going to create a program so the kids don't have to be in the house by themselves."
Yeah.
We're creating it when it's across the country. There's so much media saying this, and this. One of the things Chief Buckner used to tell me all the time, the silent majority supports law enforcement. Silent majority that you don't hear about supports law enforcement. And I would say the same thing about our community. Our community is great. The silent majority wants our communities to be wonderful, but we don't illuminate that. We talk about the negative. And if we start to turn that, I think we're going to be in a better situation where we all can learn from each other.
I agree. You touched on a couple key points. One thing, I give the analogy. You're saying it's hard. You want to throw in the towel a couple times while bringing the organization. I read in a book, I forget who quoted it, so shout out to whoever said it, that a rocket ship, you burn up most of your fuel during takeoff, just trying to get off the ground. And once you get off the ground, you know, you're burning fuel. You got to jettison some things so you can get lighter, so you can go ahead and take off. But once you break free from the atmosphere, you burn a lot less fuel, and you're just, the momentum carries you through, and you're just posting along, and you're getting things done. So just like a race car, same thing. It's gonna burn a lot of gas to get up to top speed, but once you get to top speed, you can maintain, and you don't burn as much gas while you're maintaining. And that's what it sounds like it is. Absolutely.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It was, again, building something from scratch.
Mm-hmm.
There's no blueprint. You have to use just your experience, your knowledge, other people to create this.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just me. It was just me. You know, this one person trying to do this new thing. But because I was able to leverage those relationships that I built 20 years ago, we were able to really make some significant changes. But we have a lot of work to do. But we're moving. We're not stopping. Yeah.
It's a good thing. A couple comments on the floor. Self-Talk CC. Traditional leadership doesn't see the benefit in programs like PAL. Keep advocating because it works. Keep advocating for it because it works. Absolutely. Another comment by him. Community trust improves with PAL. Absolutely. And LinkedIn user doesn't say who the profile is. When Jimmy Oliver can inspire a grown man like myself to be innovative in my work, I know he can inspire and change lives with youth in any community. The work he does is on another level. Getting shout outs right there. Absolutely. Shout outs and accolades. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, stand by. Sergeant Be Safe has a few words.
Small crimes turn into bigger crimes if not dealt with. The broken windows theory.
Hey, Rob, you blind. I saw you break that window.
Meddling busybody. That window was like that when I arrived.
I'm calling the police.
Ooh.
Don't run. Sergeant Be Safe. I saw Rob you blind try to break into that building.
Thank you, concerned citizen, for letting me know. We will definitely investigate. Minor crimes such as vandalism, loitering, curfew violations, public drunk, jaywalking, or driving with your headlight or taillight out. Minor crimes turn into bigger crimes if not reported.
Sergeant, be safe. I would have gotten away with this if it weren't for you and these nosy citizens.
Community policing begins with you. So if you don't want to see your neighborhood go down the tubes, if you see a crime, report it. Sergeant Be Safe here. That's your tip of the day to get you on your way.
Subscribe now.
And we are back. And ladies and gentlemen, that LinkedIn user is Derek Dotson. Why it's showing up as LinkedIn user with no profile picture, I don't know. But that was him who made that comment.
Thank you, Derek.
Yep, and that was him who wrote the book, who we just discussed not too long ago here on the platform. So you guys make sure you check that live out, which was a tremendous live, and make sure you guys get a copy of the book as well. I know all of PAL in Syracuse, New York is about to have their very own copy, so don't let them beat you to it. But Jimmy, I got a few more questions before we wrap up. One question I have is I have to ask this question in this way. What is your end game goal for PAL? And I hate asking that question that way because it's so finite. I know once you make a goal, you make another goal and you set another one. But in a perfect world, let's just say everything could be, you want to reach perfection. What would that perfection look like to you?
I would say something, again, it goes back to my Boys and Girls Club roots 20 years ago. We were the most sought out organization in town for kids 6 to 18 years old. If you said, hey, I need someplace or a program for my kid 20 years ago, the first thing people would have said was the Boys and Girls Club of Syracuse.
Gotcha.
And again, I was trained, I was developed, I was sent to trainings, I was coached, motivated to do that. I want the same thing for PAL. And that's what I'm trying to build here, because that's how important I feel like this message is. Whether it's sports, whether it's mentor, whether it's field trips, whether it's theater, whether it's STEM, and I want parents to, when they say, where can I sign my, I'm looking for something different for I want them to say PAL. I want them to say Syracuse PAL. And that's what I'm striving for every day. Again, I may not be here to do that because there's other things, that I want to do. But again, I'm planting the seeds, and I'm, building the foundation. And, but that's what I want it to be. I want every kid to be a part of this because I think it's important. My friends where I grew up, I didn't really talk about the things I saw growing up as a kid, or my friends saw as we were growing up, but we wanted to get out, what we were seeing. We wanted to be successful. We didn't want to have to look over our shoulders. We wanted to have a decent job. We wanted to be something that we could be proud of, our family could be proud of. And I feel like this generation is looking for the same thing. And how can we put that in front of them consistently? Leave our titles at the door. We want to leave our town, our city, our space better than we found it. The people who inspired me to do that were people that didn't have to do it. They had families of their own. We talked about that earlier. What if a police officer, what if somebody has a family, or what if they're busy and so forth? What I can tell you is that my principal who ran my school, he made time for me because he wanted to do it. He did something that a lot of people wouldn't have done. He and his wife adopted me when my mom passed away at 15. My community lifted me up when I needed them. When my mom got arrested and went to prison, my best friend, his mom and dad had 3 kids of their own. They weren't making a lot of money, but they took me in and they raised me. His dad passed away a couple of days ago. This is someone that I spent a lot of time with. And they looked out for me, and I always pay homage. Like, I'm where I am is because of this community. This community, they didn't have to do that for me. They could have turned their head and say, he can go do whatever he gonna do, but they didn't do that. They saw something in me, and it's my job and my, to pay it forward. And so that's what I try to do every single day that I have this opportunity. I have this voice, because I don't take it for granted. I don't take it for granted because I know there's people out there who need someone to advocate for them, who's going to go to bat for them because they may not have that home. And that's what we want to do.
Wow. Your compassion comes through, and thank you for sharing some personal points as well. Not everyone knew that, and I know that's important because it connects with there's someone out there that information connects with, and it's so important to share. And it's not always easy to do. So, I give you a huge shout out for that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And no, I can't. That's a way to end. But I do want to ask one last question. Through the course of conversation, if there was anything that I may have forgotten to ask, or if I jogged your memory at all, if there's any information that you wanted to put out there, what would that be? Right now, the floor is yours. You got total access to lay it all out.
Yeah, what I would say is that We want to make our communities better. We want to lead by example. We need to model the behavior to our youth, to our teens. We need to show them what's possible. We need to make time. We need to love on our neighbors. We need to love on our friends, because tomorrow's not promised. And whatever you can do is to give 5 minutes, give 15 minutes, give an hour to go and support an organization that's in your town or in your city. You may not think you're making an impact, but you are. God wants us to serve. He wants us to do his will, and service is huge. How can we help others? How can we coach them up? How can we cultivate them? How can we inspire them to be the best versions of themselves? And we got to share our wisdom. We got to share our knowledge. And sometimes we have to share our resources because we can't take them with us. But how can you serve? How can you help your neighbor? How can you help your community? Do that, because it's important. It could save someone's life. It really could. It could save someone's life. It could turn on a light bulb. But it's very important that we do it regardless of what our stature or our title of how much money we make. Give to others. Give to others and it'll come back. I guarantee you.
That is very true. Yes. Hey, Jimmy, I thank you for blessing this show with a great live. I know, like we said, it was very last minute. We got to put the pieces together very last minute. It was tremendous information. I want to watch you flourish. I hope things go very well. I hope the POW organization in Syracuse has jumped tremendous leaps and bounds with positivity, along with other POW organizations across the nation and across the world. Hope it's all successful. Like you said, we all got to leave this place a better place than we found it, and I know that you're leading the charge in that. So thank you, and thank you for coming on the show.
Please buy this book.
There you go.
Please get this book. Go out and get it. It's important for our kids and our families to have this conversation. So go out. Shout out to Derek Dodson again.
Shout out to Derek Dodson.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity to meet with you, Clee. I really appreciate the time, and thank you for giving me this platform to share what we're doing here in Syracuse, but how we're trying to make our Syracuse better. So I really appreciate that opportunity. So thank you very much.
Absolutely. My pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you tag, like, and share this information. We got to get this information out there. Help us in the journey to get that done. We go live weekly at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with a special guest, law enforcement or law enforcement affiliate and first responder. We talk about whether there be a rookie season or retirees or their affiliation, along with their publications, their trainings, how they volunteer, how they share their shared experiences. It's give and take. We're humanizing the badge. We're showing a different side of it. We're showing the experiences. It's very important. So make sure that you guys tune in next week. I got a special guest coming on the show next week. I'm not going to say who he is, but I'm excited, and I know you guys will be excited to have him here too. So make sure you guys tune in. Thank you guys. We love you. Be safe. 10-4, over and out.
Hello, ma'am. Send me gift cards and your credit card numbers over the phone.
Once Chance Wilder gets all of her information, we're going on a shopping spree. I'm talking Gucci, Fendi, and Prada.
I'll send the police to your house.
You mean to tell me that if I don't send you my credit card numbers over the phone, you're gonna come to my house and arrest me?
Absolutely. I love shopping on Amazon Prime, especially when everything is free 99.
I can't believe people are so gullible.
Sergeant, be safe. You're right on time. Can you help me?
I sure can. Hello, Wild Chance.
Oh no, Sergeant,
right.
Be safe.
Never give out any credit card information over the phone.
I can't believe you led Be Safe right to us. Run, you fool.
Me? It isn't my fault. It was your idea.
You're caught, and going back to jail. Remember, folks, don't buy gift cards and give that or credit card information over the phone, especially to a stranger. It could be Chance Wilder and his partner getting ready to rob you blind. Remember, take it from me, Sergeant Be Safe, and that'll be your tip of the day to get you on your way.
Subscribe now.
Insanity. Doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results.
Sergeant Be Safe here, and I'm stuck in the office. I'm stuck. You want to know why? I'll be completing reports for stolen vehicles. Yeah, that's right, stolen vehicles. I tell people all the time to lock their doors and put away their valuables. However, this continues to happen. Do you know that about approximately 95% of all auto thefts can be prevented? Here, let's go for a walk and I'll show you a few examples. Example number 1. You go to the store and you leave your car running. Little do you know that Chance Wilder's on the prowl. He sees your car running with the door unlocked, gets in it, and they're off! Have to start.
Oh no!
Frustrating. Let's move on to example number 2. You're at home and the car's parked for the day. But you feel safe and secure and believe this could never happen to me. And there's Rob You Blind going from car to car. Just got caught though.
Pooper, be safe.
Hands up. You're coming with me. People leave their car doors unlocked and believe it or not, their keys in them. Here's video footage of someone going onto someone's driveway and entering their car, and guess what? Stealing that too. Even if you don't keep your car key, don't keep your spouse's key in the vehicle either. Believe it or not, they park right beside you. So therefore, take the extra step, lock your vehicle, and take your keys inside. So here's a little bit of information for you. If your car is ever stolen, and then I find it and recover it, it's usually not in the same condition that it once was. It could have been involved in a motor vehicle accident because of joyriding, or just have more dents, scratches, and damage on it. You'll get an incident report and a tow bill. Your insurance company may cover the towing and recovering fee, but you could also have to come out of pocket with some extra expenses. So now let's move on to example number 3. Parking lots at major businesses are prime targets. Lock your doors, put valuables away, park in well-lit areas, and definitely do not, I cannot stress it any harder, leave your vehicle running in the parking lot. Because no matter how many times Rob You Blind and Wild Chance go to jail, they will always take advantage of a prime opportunity to take your valuables or steal your vehicle. Don't be an easy target. Hands up, you both are coming with me. These are just a few examples of how you can protect yourself and be vigilant with your property. And that's your tip of the day to get you on your way.
Subscribe now.